Joining me now with more on the agency's response is Keith Turi, Assistant Administrator for Field Leadership at FEMA. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. Obviously, critical moments. President Biden has declared a federal emergency declaration for Puerto Rico. As we just reported, the FEMA administrator is heading there. What will the mission be once on the ground? And is help getting to Puerto Rico quickly enough?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me to talk about our response efforts here at FEMA and across the federal interagency. As you noted, as the report noted, there's still obviously weather impacts ongoing in Puerto Rico. The strongest wind just moved off this morning, still have rain bands impacting the island. So we are very much still in a life-saving mode with our partners in Puerto Rico and with the local governments. We have had folks on the ground since last week. They have been working closely with their partners to make sure that we are ready just for these types of circumstances and making sure that we are ready to provide whatever assistance might be required. That is going to be focused on, again, ensuring folks are safe and for ensuring that any search and rescue missions are executed as required and making sure that there's safe shelter for those that might need it. As you mentioned, our administrator will be on the ground tomorrow to connect with the governor and the team down there to provide oversight to the efforts. And
how bad is it right now on the island? I mean, as we've just reported, as you've just stressed, the rain, the conditions are ongoing. How much does that complicate efforts to try to begin the process of healing from this?
Yeah, it just like any storm, there's a period of time where you have time to repair, a time when you're in the impact, and then you move into response and recovery. Obviously, we're just on the latter end of that of the impact phase and heading into that response phase. But again, our team is well positioned, well coordinated with our partners, and ready to assist as needed.
Do you have a sense of the death toll at this point in time?
That's not something that we have information on just yet. The best information that will come from state and locals. Right now, we're focused on life saving and doing everything we can to preserve as much life as possible. We have not heard any reports of significant loss of life.
Okay, and when can residents expect their power to return and their access to water to be restored? We've understood that some people have lost access to both.
Yeah, obviously one of the most important aspects of the response is making sure those critical lifelines are up. We understand, obviously, there is a power outage. We're well synced with the government of Puerto Rico and with the power company on them executing their plans for restoration. We don't have a timeline for restoration at this point, and that would come, again, best from those on the ground. But we are working all plans, all processes for contingencies as they work to get that restored as quickly as possible.
And as we've said, this could not happen at a worse time. This is an island that is still recovering from Maria. Given that, what are your next steps? Where do the priorities lie at this point in time? Again, given that this is an ongoing crisis.
Right. Again, so the emergency declaration the president declares gives us the ability to provide federal support for those emergency measures for life safety, for stabilization. So our focus immediately is going to be on making sure everyone's safe, making sure those lifelines are stable, helping with power restoration. Obviously, that is going to be a critical priority, as so much comes from having access to power. That'll be the focus. And then as we move out of that, we'll get into damage assessments, identifying needs for individual residents, assessing the impacts to infrastructure, and figuring out where we need to go from there. But this will be a partnership for FEMA moving forward. We've obviously been, as you indicated, on the ground with Puerto Rico since Maria. We have a lot of experience working there. We have a great partnership, and so we're ready to meet the needs of this. And it is unfortunate happening on the timing of the 5th anniversary of Maria, but it's something that we're well postured and ready to help with.
And I know in the wake of Maria, there was so much focus on trying to get the resources and, frankly, the funding needed to help Puerto Rico brace for future storms, future disasters. What more do you think Puerto Rico needs as you look forward to help them to continue to fortify itself?
Well, as you mentioned, recovery takes a long time. There's been a lot of great work done by a number of partners since Maria to get funding in place, to get initiatives ongoing to help restore recover and make more resilient. But there's a lot more work to be done from that Maria recovery, and this will be another disaster in which we'll also have to work to recover from. Don't forget, Puerto Rico also had an earthquake a few years ago that also added to this. So there's a lot of ongoing work to be done. We are focused on that response right now, but with an eye, as you mentioned, towards making sure we put Puerto Rico in a position to be as resilient as possible into the future.
And just finally, for people who are watching right now, what is your message for those who want to help? What's the best way for people to contribute?
Yeah, so one of the best ways to contribute is to partner with an organization that is providing support. You can go to FEMA's website look for those that are providing assistance. You can also go to the National Organizations Active in Disasters website and to find organizations that are helping and provide your support to them.
Well, we know the next 24, 48 hours will just be incredibly critical. Keith Turi, thank you so much for joining us and for that information. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.